find yourself constantly worrying if your partner really loves you or if they really want to stay with you?
Or do you feel smothered by your partner and find that it's not easy to trust them? Or maybe you're out there and you feel a combination of both of those.
Right. Well, if you relate to either of these examples, then this video is for you. Today we will be discussing attachment styles in romantic relationships. So stick around because you won't want to miss this. This episode should not be used as a substitute for medical or mental health advice. Individuals are advised to seek independent medical advice, counseling, and/or therapy from a healthcare professional with respect to any medical condition, mental health issue, or health inquiry, including matters discussed on this episode.
All right. Hey, good people.
Hey, y'all. How are you? Happy New Year.
Yes.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, 2024.
I know. It's here. We made it.
We made it.
We made it. Well, we are super excited to be back with you guys. You want to introduce yourself?
I am Dr. Lakeba Williams, a licensed professional counselor and an adult educator, and it is my privilege to share this space with you.
Right. I'm Lauren Williams. I am a licensed associate professional counselor, and I'm super excited to be with you as well. What you got? Do you do New Year's resolutions?
No, I do not do New Year's resolutions, and no shade to people that do. I think people need to do what works for them.
Is that like you like it, I love it?
Yeah, I love it. That is exactly what, you know me so well. Bust it. I was just say bust it. That's what you do that. I tend to get on a word, So I'll have a word for the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do that.
Yeah.
Do you have your word for the year?
I do.
Are you going to share it or are you holding it close?
No, I'm going to be like Mary when she was told that she was going to give birth to Jesus. I'm going to treasure it in my heart.
Okay.
And I'm giving y'all permission to do the same. But I told you what the word was. You forgot at the end of the year.
What was it? Tell me. Okay. That's a good one.
Yes.
Do I do New Year's resolutions? I do not really, but I do like to start the year off strong. So
yes.
I will typically start whatever habits at the end of, like towards the end of December, just to kind of go in. So I had some like fitness goals and stuff that I started, and then just some health things that I am doing. Also really just diving deep into like prayer and meditation and stuff. So trying to set the tone. But nevertheless, we are happy to be back, y'all. And we're going to jump into this video.
Let's go.
We're not going to hold you. So today we are talking about attachment styles. And I wanted to start this off by saying this is going to be a series.
Yes.
So this video may be a bit shorter than some of the other videos that we do because we are doing a series. So this is part 1. This series on attachment styles in relationships is going to be leading up to Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So we are intentional about, the information that we're bringing to you. Yeah. So we wanted to start it off strong, just start the year off strong. And this is something that is near and dear to our hearts, both personally and professionally, especially for Mom. And I'll let her talk a little bit about that later on.
Yes.
But yeah, we just wanted to kind of start the year off right. This was also requested. And so if you feel like you have some things on your heart and your mind that you would like for us to discuss, I want to encourage you to like DM us, or you can put it in the comment section in the YouTube video. But if you want it to be private, you can also DM us on Instagram at Fresh Hope Today. And we will do our best to review or to talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. So,
Absolutely.
Mom, I'll throw it to you so we can start off.
Let's do it.
Talking about it. Yeah, let's jump in.
So no woman, no man is an island, right? And we are really about connections as humans. And we say this all the time in this platform. I tend to highlight this idea that it is in relationships that we are wounded, most of my clients come to me, and I guess you could say the same, Lauren, because they've been disappointed in a relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this is God's math, not mine. We're wounded in relationships, but God uses relationships to heal us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the dopest thing ever.
Beautifully
So
said.
we're sending this out here just to encourage you all. You know how we come. We come with the knowledge first. So we want to know, what is attachment style?
Yeah.
Like, why would we even focus on that today?
Right.
And so, Lauren, do you have a definition for us related to
I
attachment?
do have a definition
let us
related
know.
to attachment. You guys know we like to start off with the
Knowledge.
knowledge.
Yes.
So we are going to talk about attachment style from the lens of attachment theory. So attachment theory is a psychological, evolutionary, and ethological theory concerning relationships between humans. So plainly said, it's a theory based on relationships.
Yeah.
And the most important tenet is that a young child needs to develop a relationship with at least one primary caregiver for normal social and emotional development.
Say that
so,
again.
yeah,
Say that again.
that's important.
Yeah.
The most important piece is that a young child needs to develop a relationship with at least one primary caregiver for normal social development. So if you and emotional development. So if you're out there and maybe you are a single parent, or you're co-parenting,
loving parent.
loving parent. But you parent mostly solo, right?
Yeah.
Or you parent all the way solo, and you're worried about, is my child going to be okay? Or you are a product of a loving parent or a single parent, but you have at least one caregiver that gave you what you needed.
Ooh, come on, somebody.
Then we want to let you know that you can be
You're
on
good.
the right track. You're all right.
Yeah.
And if you are parenting and you're worried about your child's social emotional development, then we want to encourage you to be that parent. And by what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to give you some tools to put you on the track. And you know what? This is in my spirit. If you didn't have either of those,
come on, somebody.
there is a heavenly Father.
Come on. Hey.
That can provide all your needs, okay? And really show you the most secure attachment that there ever was between us and the Creator. Right.
Co-laboring.
Taking on everybody, all of the things that you might not have gotten when you were younger. So there's hope for each party.
Good.
Yeah, everybody.
Yes. Because
so come on
at
in
this
here.
point, come on in the room. At this point, what we're doing is reparenting ourselves, for those of us that may fall into that category.
Right, absolutely.
And that's the invitation.
Right.
So let's just dive right into it. We've laid the foundation for the definition of attachment out of the theoretical lens of attachment theory. John Bowlby in the 1950s and 60s began to think about, okay, how do we develop attachment styles? And he referred to it as an evolutionary process. And we learned, our foreparents learned the importance of being with other people, because if you out there in the wild and you solo, you can get by an animal real easy. And so we learned the value as a human species of being with the herd, of being with people. And that has just been transferred to us in modern times, with all the nuances of social media and digital area and all those things.
Yeah, constantly evolving.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it's still an evolutionary process.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that
Interestingly
dope?
enough, right? So we, and then we also want to talk about Mary Ainsworth. She was a psychologist from the 1970s that kind of expanded upon Bowlby's work. She started she did a study. It was called a strange situation study. You want to talk about that?
Well, in the strange situation, they would sit toddlers in a room with toys from the ages of 12 months to 18 months. And the child would begin with their parent, the mother, in the play area with them, and then the mother would leave. That creates a strange situation for a child from 12 months to 18 months. Mama, where you going? What you doing? What's going on? And based on how the child react, when the mother left and came back, she would be able to tell what that child's attachment style was. So then we come to modern times in the early 2000s. Hazan and Shaver looked at attachment in relationships, romantic relationships.
Yeah.
They put a quiz in a newspaper and asked 3 questions and said, which one do you identify with the most? And they were able to extract from that information and synthesize it with Bowlby and Ainsworth's work on attachment style and really bring it to, yes, we grow up in these families and we start to develop attachment in that way, but how does that look like as
in
adults?
romantic relationships? Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to, I think that was a great segue. You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Breaking
I have
all
a lot
that
of
down.
practice
Yeah,
in that.
you do, and a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
So we wanted to, like we said, we're just introducing you guys to the concept of attachment style. There's a lot of conversation and information about attachment style, but we wanted to bring it to you from the source. We wanted to talk about the originators, the studies, all the way up into modern day. So,
and we want to bring it to you culturally responsive. Okay.
All right. Now.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Yes. Let's talk about it. The understanding. Let's get an understanding of the different styles of attachment.
Yeah. So as of today, there are 4 different types of attachment
Used to
styles.
be 3.
Yeah, there used to be 3.
Yeah.
So who knows how many there will be
It's evolved.
in the coming times. But there's 4 right now. So the first attachment style that we'll be discussing is secure.
Yes.
Right. The second attachment style that we'll be discussing is anxious.
Yes.
The third attachment style that we'll be discussing is avoidant, or you might hear it referred to as dismissive avoidant. And then the fourth is fearful avoidant, or you might hear it be referred to as disorganized attachment style. So that is the order that we will be discussing these, and we're just gonna get right into it and
Let's
get
go.
into it. So we'll start with secure.
Yes.
Secure is the attachment style that we hope to obtain. This is where we all want to be. This is where we are healthiest, our happiest. We are our best selves, right? And we're all working towards secure attachment. So here are some indicators that you have a secure attachment style in romantic relationships. The first one is that you have healthy boundaries. So you're not worried about how someone's going to react to you, or how, if they might, if you set a boundary, they'll no longer want to be in relationship with you. It's a factor, but it's not a determining factor, right? You're still going to make sure that those boundaries are secure and that they're in place because they keep you safe and they keep you healthy, right? It's also important to note that with the secure attachment style, you have a really good understanding of yourself, your history and your background and your triggers. And so some of these things are in place to keep it in the middle of the road, right? So I think that's important. Secondly, there's mutual trust and support. So this is individual, but this is also within the dynamics of the relationship. There are healthy boundaries.
I ain't checking your phone.
You're not checking my phone because there's mutual trust.
Because I don't have to.
Or if you say something to me that might make me feel a way, there's a mutual trust that there's a reason that you are bringing that up. Like, let's say we... let's say that we, because I would say we have a secure attachment.
I hope so.
Let's say we do. So let's say that we are out for lunch. And I might have an interaction with somebody and I wasn't showing up as my best self, right? This is hypothetical. This would never happen in real life. And my mom says,
Lauren, I'll pull up, because I will pull up.
And she says, what would you say? How would you say it?
Girl, you okay?
That is what she would say. Let's just slow it down. And instead of me, why you gonna say that? Why you do that? If she's asking me that because the foundation of our relationship dynamic is secure, most likely, hopefully, I'll slow down and say, not really. Because I won't feel like she's attacking me. I'll know that she's asking me that for a reason, and most importantly, because she cares. Right? So that's just an example of mutual trust and support. Right? There's support. This person is showing up for you. From the individual perspective, you're showing up for yourself. Okay?
Yes.
Controlled conflict resolution.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Oh, so we don't holler and scream at each other when we mad?
No.
We don't cuss each other out?
No. It's not an option, honestly.
it's not.
In a secure relationship, when you have a secure attachment to a person, because first and foremost, from the individual, I don't talk to myself that way. This is important to know. I don't beat myself up when I disappoint myself, right? I can be disappointed, but I don't ridicule myself. I'm not nasty and ugly to myself. That's first and foremost. Most likely I'll analyze the situation and work towards, being my best self and building myself up, encouraging myself. And when I need to get stern, I get stern. There's a difference between being stern and being disrespectful, right? So that's from the individual. Once we relate that to the relational perspective or the relational standpoint, I don't do that to my partner either. And I don't allow it to be done to me. The best practice, you guys, if you're like, well, I don't know how to, not, because I was cussed out when I was growing up and didn't nobody ever sit down with me.
Sorry.
Start with yourself.
If that's been your situation, you can reparent yourself and develop a healthy dynamic with yourself. So next we'll talk about those of us that have an anxious attachment style. And maybe you're out there and you tend to fear abandonment. Like in your relationships, you are worried whether the person is going to leave you or not.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. And it's so unsettling in the soul. Folks with an anxious attachment style have a more positive mental image of other people than they do themselves. Because, beloved, if you knew how awesome you were, you wouldn't be worried about nobody leaving you. We just want you to know that. And yet, some of us find ourselves questioning that all the time. Need for constant validation. You need your partner to tell you you're beautiful and they're not going to leave you.
Or it's okay to do this. It's
give
okay.
permission. Give permission. And you're dependent on your partner for your self-worth.
Wow.
Folks with an anxious attachment tend to do that, looking for validation. When I work with my clients with anxious attachment styles, we talk a lot about the value of self-validation, right? As we're moving more towards security, just being able to validate yourself and know your own worth.
Right. So just to kind of recap, people with a secure attachment style tend to have a positive view or thoughts about their partners, and they have positive views or thoughts about themselves.
And their childhood.
So
even if they didn't have the Cosby Show childhood, they can reflect upon their childhood and find something that they can say, this helped me to be as resilient as I am, right? And so, positive mental image of self, positive mental image of others, and a positive mental image.
It's very intentional.
Childhood, yes.
It's very intentional.
Yes.
Because that positive mental image serves you in your everyday life and in the quality of your relationship. So positive. Yes. Anxious. Those of us with anxious attachment styles have negative thoughts or views about themselves and a more positive view or positive thoughts about their partner. So we think that's important. We'll talk a little bit about avoidant. Let's jump in. So if anxious is over here, avoidant attachment style is all the way over here. So those of us who are navigating or, having difficulty with an avoidant attachment style tend to avoid intimacy and vulnerability. It's really hard to open up and
excruciatingly painful.
That's better said. Yeah.
Excruciatingly
It literally
painful.
feels like physically painful to the thought of being honest with a person.
You ever been in a relationship with somebody and they tell their sister, they tell their mama how they really feel, but they don't tell you? That's an avoidant attachment style.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you're in a relationship with a person and it just feels surface level, you might be physically intimate, but when it comes to actual matters of the heart, you kind of feel like there's just like a blank, like a deadness behind their eyes. Yeah, there's a disconnect. They might be avoidant in their attachment.
That's good.
Commitment issues is very common.
So you're talking
So
about
the anxious person won't let go.
Please don't let me. Please tell me.
And the avoidant person is trying to pull away.
So I'm anxious and I'm saying, well, Lauren, I just need to know, what are we doing here? Y'all ever asked anybody that question? What do we call ourselves? Where are we going? What are we doing here? So this me.
You're
I'm
potentially
anxious.
what? Right, anxious.
And so what do you say?
Well, we don't have to get into
We need to be organic.
all of that.
Yeah.
Just let it be. Yeah. You see how I'm leaning back? Just let it be. You know what it's gonna be.
What?
Yeah. So this is the
Lord.
anxious person. I am
like
the
this.
avoidant person, because this commitment could potentially lead to what?
Pain.
Intimacy and vulnerability.
Yes.
And that is what the avoidant person is quite literally avoiding.
Excruciatingly painful for them.
Yeah. And then the last one, guarded and closed off heart. You might feel little, snippets of, moments of intimacy with this person.
Oh, you talking about breadcrumbing? Ooh. And then you be so excited. He called me. She texted me. Baby, let me tell you something. If that's exciting.
Imagine sitting at a table with a fork and a knife, and you are literally taking pieces of a breadcrumb and acting like it's Thanksgiving dinner.
It ain't gonna happen.
It's nothing. Because on the other end of that is emptiness, okay? So guarded and closed off is the characteristic of a person with an avoidant attachment style, because that can lead to what the person is avoiding, like we talked about earlier, intimacy and vulnerability. So something that this could look like, an example of this is, you could be dating a person with an avoidant attachment style, and when things start to get serious, and I don't mean commit, like we're together, we can say we're together, but when things really start to require more
heavy lifting, you may not have some problems.
You're not perfect.
Problems at work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or you have problems at work or family, and this causes
bills.
the other person to really have to muster up some sort of,
care
and concern. Well, that's really difficult for a person with avoidant attachment style, and so they might be out of there.
And then you're anxious, you'll feel like that.
Or they may physically stay and be mentally and emotionally gone, right? So you also see in the research shows that people with avoidant attachment styles have commitment issues, which leads to a lot of infidelity in relationships, because it's a way to kind of be out of the relationship, to kind of, dissipate, kind of sift through all of the emotion and all the other stuff, because they don't want to deal with that, right? That's just too much. Like you said, Mom, it's excruciating for them. So I think we painted avoidant.
I think we have.
Pretty well.
And this is gone on and see your therapist or your life coach if we're describing the manner in which you attach in relationship. Because the good news is, when you, at least Amir Levine says, when you connect with a secure tribe, people that have positive mental images of themselves and other people and their upbringing, you can begin to move toward that as well.
Absolutely. There's always hope. There's always hope. First is, and we'll talk about that in the wisdom.
Move to the one that combines both.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So disorganized or fearful avoidant. And two, so a person with a disorganized attachment style has an extreme fear of rejection, similar to the anxious attachment style. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear that they're not good enough, because this person has a negative view of themselves, but also they have a negative view of other people, of their partner. So just to recap again, the avoidant person has a negative view of of all of y'all, but a positive view
I'm the best thing
of themselves. So I'm not the problem, you are, and that's why I'm moving away from you. Anxious, I am the problem, you're not, I want to be close to you. Right? Okay, so, and then the fearful avoidant says, I'm the problem, you're the problem.
My upbringing as a child was a problem. It's just a problem. I don't trust it. I'm not even here for it.
No good things can come from any side.
Connection.
Right. Yeah. So, and then they have a hard time trusting other people and relying on their partner. What you can feel in a relationship with a person with disorganized attachment is a lot of push and pull.
Oh, Lauren, I love you so much. Oh, I've gone for 3 days. I don't call you. Oh, Lauren, you so awesome. Oh, girl, get over there. It's too much. Yeah, it's just too much.
That was so perfect. Too much. That's exactly, and that's a perfect example of what it could be like.
And you confused.
Right.
You confused on the other end. You like,
what the But that person is also obviously confused.
Obviously.
So if you're a person that feels like this, sometimes I want to be really close to a person and sometimes I can't stand them and I want to be away from them. You might be experiencing disorganized attachment.
Disorganized attachment usually is the result of childhood abuse and trauma.
Absolutely.
So those of us that have experienced that tend to have that sense of confusion because our caregivers maybe were
disorganized
when they weren't using drugs
Absolutely.
or binging alcohol. They were really attentive and at our basketball games, football games, whatever.
Very good.
And then when they went off on their whatever they were on, we felt like we had to fend for ourselves.
You might have to, take care of your brothers and sisters or cook for yourself as a really young child or make sure you have to get to school.
Which creates a hyper-independence, which this idea in the literature, in attachment literature, talks about the dependency paradox. And we're going to talk about that at another juncture in this series.
Yeah.
But in order to have a secure attachment, there is some dependency.
I'd like to also, absolutely, to relate to other people.
Absolutely.
Another point here, so we talked about potentially having, or you might have had a caregiver who had an addiction. This also goes for people who might have had a caregiver with an undiagnosed mental illness or diagnosed ill physically when they were, it's not always, just intentional. It's not always because people are bad people.
Right.
When they're feeling better, when they're not going through whatever they're going through, they're able to move around. There's times when maybe you didn't get attention and everybody was carrying on that person because they were sick and they were ill.
Abandonment kind of comes in.
Set in.
Well, we have laid the foundation for the knowledge.
Yeah.
I think we have a better understanding. Let's go ahead and let's kick some wisdom out there. Lauren, what's your wisdom for us today?
Yeah, I think my wisdom would just be, this is interesting, to get the knowledge, right?
Good.
To find out where you fit in
good.
Any of these first and foremost, right? Yeah. So that you can do the work to move towards secure attachment. First, within yourself. Secondly, creating that secure tribe of people, because once you establish it within yourself, you know what it looks like and you know what it feels like. Now you can make sure you can be intentional, and that might mean that you have to do some pruning. Right, so you recognize, this is too much.
This person triggers me. I'm attracted to avoidant people because I'm anxious. That's usually what the literature shows.
Or I'm avoidant and I really like the attention that an anxious person gives me.
Either way. Ooh,
right. So we've got to do better. But
Soul
it starts with really starting first within yourself and getting the knowledge related to your attachment style. That's the wisdom. What about you? Maybe in relation to relationships.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to, by extension, kind of pull from what you just shared. I think wisdom is once you find out what your attachment style is, and you dive in and you get to know yourself a little bit better.
Right.
Go on and accept what you see. Okay. And I'm asking you, me, anybody that will listen, to dial up the self-compassion, because the literature shows that's what people with secure attachment do. Yeah. They love themselves.
So you mean once I find out, don't ridicule myself for being anxious or not feeling like something's wrong with me because I'm avoidant.
Right. Well, this is not who you are. It is what you're doing. It's behavioral. The good news is our brains are plastic, malleable, with corrective emotional experiences, with a secure tribe, and with knowledge.
Behaviors.
You can change your ways. You can change your ways.
Yeah.
2024 can be a bang-up year for you.
Yes, and you can start to create your secure tribe. I love that, Mom.
Yeah.
Turn up the self-compassion as you start to gain the knowledge.
Turn up the love, turn down the fear. A lot of the insecure attachment is fear-based.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be there for me. We're asking two questions all the time. Am I worthy of love and belonging? And will you be there for me? And so we would say, go on and give yourself a yes. Yes, I'm worthy. And yes, I'm going to be there for me. We'll start there.
Yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah.
Very good. That was great. Super.
2 high fives today.
That was good. help me.
I know that's right.
Yeah, so you guys, that was part one of, like we said, a series related to attachment styles. We're very, very, very excited. Yeah. As I always say, if you enjoyed this video, y'all, let me take it. We almost had 100 subscribers. And when we get to 100 subscribers, we're gonna have a party. Okay? We're gonna have a party. So send this video. If this helped you, we want you to like it. Yeah. We want you to subscribe. Yes. Most importantly, so you can get updates when we upload videos. We want you to share this with a friend. Yes. Help us by sharing this video with 2 people, right? Even if they're like, what is this?
You're not responsible for whether they open it and watch it. Just send it.
Just send it.
It ain't no skin off your back.
Yeah. Send it to 2 people. Be thinking about who you can send it to and just shoot it over. Hopefully this will be a blessing to them. Yes. We are really happy that you watched this video. You stuck it out with us. And we will see you guys next time. Bye. Peace. This episode should not be used as a substitute for medical or mental health advice. Individuals are advised to seek independent medical advice, counseling, and/or therapy from a healthcare professional with respect to any medical condition, mental health issue, or health inquiry, including matters discussed on this episode.